Smoke Signals Radio. This is going to be take two. Okay, so we did an interview yesterday, technical difficulties. You'll see us talking, you see him in his clean suit, but you didn't hear anything. I'm going to put up some footage of that, like some little B-roll in the background so you can kind of see. But he's gracious enough to let me come back over here and get another interview, so I greatly appreciate it. Thank
My
you,
pleasure,
Manny.
man. No, my
All right,
pleasure,
how
brother.
you doing? Go ahead, introduce your cigars and tell a little bit about
Yeah,
it.
for sure. So Manny Guillen here from Guillen Co. We're a Canadian brand, putting our foothold here in the U.S. market for the first year. So hopefully it sticks around.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. How'd you get into the cigar industry?
So it's a quite a bit of a long story, but I'll
Mhm.
try to make it as short as possible.
Mhm.
Um, Growing up, I was always exposed to cigars.
Right.
So I always saw my grandma rolling her own cigars when I was
Mm.
a kid, and my grandfather was an aficionado as well. So it was something that, it was kind of like the ritual was always there.
Uh-huh.
And then obviously when I became of legal age, I
Mhm.
started, getting into the habit and getting into the smoke and getting into like understanding what a cigar is.
Uh-huh.
And then I became an aficionado. And after that, I just decided to, you know what? It's such a passion of mine
Uh-huh.
that I'm just going to monetize it and
Okay.
turn this hobby into an actual business. So
That's
that's where
cool.
we're at.
So grandma rolled them,
Yes, sir.
grandpa smoked them. That's a
Exactly.
that's that's a
That's the way
that's
to
a
go.
good man right there.
That's the way to
That's how
go.
you keep it going. And so obviously that's what inspired you to start your
Yes. Yeah.
okay.
So, I mean, they were not in the business,
Mhm.
but they were aficionados,
Uh-huh.
right? And it was something that I was lucky enough to see, like, what a raw leaf looks like
Mhm.
and what, somebody rolling a cigar
Mhm.
is like. So it was always something that was part of my life.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, it just became our passion. And then now it's our business.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Um, what makes this brand or blend unique in the market?
So there's a couple of things. So
Mhm.
I think that Guillen Co, as an initial launch,
Mhm.
what we wanted to do is not just sell a cigar, but we also want to sell a story behind it. That's very
Mhm.
important to us because cigars, there's so many out there.
Mhm.
It's not a matter of just putting a band on it, just call it, whatever.
Mhm.
We actually are selling a story. We're selling a character because that's
Mhm.
how we see cigars as. So right now, for example, I'm smoking a Julio H,
Mm.
which is our Maduro line.
Okay.
And this one's inspired in my grandfather.
Okay.
That was his name.
Okay.
That's what he used to smoke. So that's
Mhm.
what he loved smoking.
Okay.
And what we figured out is that, a character has, a cigar has character. It has a
Mhm.
personality. It's
Mhm.
sometimes it's spicy, sometimes it's
Mhm.
mellow. It'll make you feel certain things. You're gonna want to enjoy time with them at certain times.
Right.
They're not for every occasion, right? So
Right.
those sorts of things. That's where we thought is like, okay, let's create characters that
Mhm.
people actually want to spend time with. So I
Mhm.
think that that's the beauty of our brand, that it's basically you're spending time with these characters, and
Right.
hopefully that's where we're introducing you to the family.
Mhm.
That's why our initial launch series is called Meet the Family series,
Okay.
because you're getting introduced into our
I
stars.
like that. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. I know yesterday we talked about the kind of the style, like the mafioso type
Yes,
style.
yes, yes.
And I told him I went up, picked up my outfit. I said, when I do my review, I'm gonna be all mafia out.
Yes,
I'm gonna
sir.
join the family.
Yeah, it's all
So
good in the
yeah,
family, man.
so
Yeah,
I already got it laid out. Yeah,
yeah. That's
it's coming.
amazing.
It's coming. Um, so it's like say this is for newbies. Like I say, I've only
Yeah,
spoken for 2 years,
yeah,
and for people who don't drink.
yeah.
So I asked a couple questions based off of that, so they kind of
Of
find a place
course.
where to go. So,
Yeah.
what non-alcoholic beverage would you say pairs well with your cigars?
So the first one, it depends, right? So
Mhm.
one is if you want to accentuate something from a cigar, you
Mhm.
pair it with something.
Uh-huh.
But if you just want to feel what the cigar tastes like in its purest form and
Mhm.
what the blender is intending to tell you,
Okay.
what's the story of the cigar? So in
Mhm.
its pure form,
Mhm.
sparkling water. It
Okay.
will always cleanse your palate.
Thank
It
you.
pairs well. It keeps you hydrated as
Mhm.
well. And at the same time, it doesn't play against the flavors of the cigar.
Right.
Because the cigar doesn't mean that it's flavored, but
Mhm.
every leaf that you're putting on it will
Mhm.
have notes, will
Mhm.
have smokiness, will have different taste. And when
Mhm.
it's all blended together, what we want to do is take you through a trajectory of what you're
Mhm.
feeling, right? Like on the first third, we want to tell you one story.
R
Second third, you're going to feel
I like
something
that.
different.
Yeah.
Last third is like, oh, okay, this is spicy or something like that,
Yeah.
right? So if you want to feel that in the purest form,
Mhm.
sparkling water is the way to
Okay.
go. If you want to pair it like a safe bet,
Mhm.
always black coffee.
Okay.
For example, it all depends on the time of the day as well. But if you're not a black coffee drinker, another great pairing is just a latte, cappuccino,
Got you.
something without sugar.
Right.
And try to do something that's not cold as well,
Not cold.
because
Okay.
you don't want to numb your taste buds, right? So
Okay.
if you're drinking a scotch on the rocks, that's fine. It always pairs well.
Right.
But at the same time, you're numbing your taste buds.
Right.
So you will feel certain things about the cigar that you're not meant to feel, or something like that. It may clash in terms of flavors.
Okay.
And then another one that I do like, that's a little bit contradictory to what I just said, but it's like you can just pair it with Coke. So I like Coke Zero on a hot day.
Yeah.
I want to be drinking a hot coffee.
Yeah.
Just go with Coke Zero, you know.
Okay.
It accentuates, like it has molasses in it, or molasses flavor.
Right.
And that pairs really well with the cigar as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. I just learned something. The whole like chill out on the cold drinks. Like that kind of makes sense a little bit. Like I just learned something. So that's a good tip you just picked up.
For sure.
I thank you for that. What advice would you give someone who just starting out smoking cigars?
So advice, if you just started smoking cigars, your first time of cigar, first, don't be intimidated by them. Don't be intimidated by shapes. Don't be intimidated by size. So you have to figure out a couple of things. One is, how much time do you actually have to smoke? Because the last thing you want to do is not know how much time you actually have to spend smoking that cigar. You're in a rush and you're going to choose a Churchill. You're going to be spending 2 hours with that thing. You don't want to be rushing it or killing it halfway through, right? Because once it's done, it's done.
It's done, yeah.
And so figure out how much time you have and then pick accordingly. Second thing is, price doesn't really mean it's better quality than a cheaper cigar. So our cigars are very fairly priced all across the board. Well, not in California or Vegas, but places with less excise tax, they're selling at around $12, right? So California, you're probably looking at 25. But just to give you an idea, it's like expensive doesn't necessarily mean the better. So those are the two things. And then I would say, as a last piece of advice, is take your time with your cigars. Last thing you want to do is start rushing it, burning it, keeping it hot. So keep your eye out on temperature. If your stick is getting too hot, then you're going too fast. You got to slow it down. Keep the smoke cool. Because if not, what you're doing is you're burning it too much, and it's going to start funneling. It's going to start doing crazy things. So you better want to keep your
mess up the notes.
Yes,
and taste.
Exactly. It'll mess everything up, right?
Okay, I like that. Okay. That's good. That's good to know. I had an experience with that the other day. I got a cigar and I was like, I'm about to lay down and just smoke it and relax.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to pick my wife from work. I got halfway through and I was like,
I know, man.
Yeah.
I know. That's why we have a smaller line, which is particularly when you have very short time. In Canada, we're a Canadian brand. We have super long winters, so the only time that you can have, like, you don't want to be spending like an hour outside, right? And everything is illegal. No cigar lounges up there. So, yeah, you want to probably smoke it in your car, your way in and out of work, or you have like 30 minutes to go walk your dog, type of thing. So
I'm curious about that because like I can't imagine no cigar lounges because sometimes I need to get away.
You better believe it.
Yeah, so it's like So is it because like they're just trying to get rid of smoking? And,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's related to healthcare being free.
Right.
And they don't want to be overtaxing people for like lung issues or cancer issues. But the problem with that is that it has been proven that cigars are not a cause of mortality for cigar smokers. Cigarettes are a completely different thing. But unfortunately, there isn't really an industry up there that is lobbying for it. And to actually let them know about these studies that are actually there, they're factual, and that cigars are actually beneficial to your health. Don't tell everybody I said that, but they are. You know what I mean? Like, they provide a relaxation. They will release your stress. It's something that it's a different type of ritual. You're not inhaling. So completely different thing than a vape. Completely different thing than a cigar. And they're just bundling them all up.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Wow. Okay. How do you see the cigar culture evolving, especially in this market?
I think it's alive and thriving because social media is playing a huge role in educating people. So stuff like what you're doing, it's not something that used to happen 10, 15 years ago, right? So a lot of people would not even give a second look to a cigar because they're thinking like, oh, this is an old man's hobby. You know what I mean? So now you're educating people, letting them know what you're supposed to be experiencing when you're smoking a cigar, how to light it up, how to cut it. all those sorts of things I think are really helping and beneficial for the industry. So I think there's definitely a good horizon, man. It's like definitely something that we're moving towards a good thing with cigars, and we're just fighting the good fight, making sure that the ritual stays alive.
Yes, I like that. The ritual, yes. What is one thing that you wish more people knew about the cigar experience?
Well, I think I mentioned it earlier, but what I said, I want to emphasize in price. Like, more expensive doesn't mean a better cigar. And the other thing that I would say as well probably is don't be afraid to experiment with other brands.
Okay.
So as a boutique brand, as a new brand, for example, it would be harmful if you're not trying something new, right? For us. So I know that you may get your favorites that you gravitate towards, but don't be afraid. There's great boutique brands. There's great brands out there. There's a huge variety. So you got to know what you're looking for. So when you go into a cigar shop, for example, first thing you can ask your tobacconist is just ask them what's new out there, right?
Yeah.
What's new within this price range, and this is how much time I have to smoke it. And they'll guide you to what's new, what's up and coming, and that's always something that's going to help you as an aficionado to experiment, feel different taste notes, origins, all those sorts of things, right? So I think it's really helpful.
I like that, because I recently found me like a $7 stick that so because like I said, some of these lounges here are getting kind of higher. Like I'm noticing the prices going up, and it's like, all right, you should come in with a $20 bill. You like, all right, now I'm like, gotta make some decisions. But so every time I go in lately, I'll be getting a $7 stick, and I love it.
Yeah,
and I'll just be like,
exactly.
Yeah, and hey, that's my guy right there.
That's exactly it.
So,
Man.
but that's great. I'm glad that you said all that because that just give us more things to ask and think about when we go into the lounge.
Of course.
Because right now I'm telling all the newbies and what you hear a lot of people saying, know what you like, whether it's the type of the leaf, Maduro, Connecticut, or Habano, like all that good stuff.
Yeah.
When they're asking you and stuff like that, with mild, medium, full body, but we're never talking about like how much you got, or what do you have for this price? I have this amount of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, hey, you got something new I want to try.
Exactly.
So it helps the I guess the newbies get a little bit more comfortable so they don't sound so new. Because sometimes they feel like they can smell the new on them.
I know, but there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it.
Don't feel intimidated for walking into a cigar shop. I'm pretty sure, like most of the time, like if not 100% of the time, a tobacconist is going to be more than willing to help a newbie out. And that's always something that's super intimidating. Because I even remember when I was like growing up and I was like 20, 21 years old, finally of legal age, I could actually walk into a tobacconist. And I was scared shitless, because these guys, like, they mean business, right? Like, it's like, okay, I don't know, this guy's gonna tell me to fuck off. Sorry, fuck off.
Yeah, no, it's good.
So it's like, don't be intimidated. Most of the time, even if they look rough, they're gonna try to help you, man.
Right.
They're gonna be more than willing to help you.
Yeah, and I've learned that in this culture. There's a couple people I look like, oh, this is gonna be a fight right here.
Yeah, exactly.
And he was like the nicest guy. And I was like, hey, so okay. So I appreciate you for doing this for a second time.
Oh, absolutely.
He's amazing. Make sure you go look for his cigars. I can't wait to review both of them. I'm going to have fun. I also went and got me some sparkling water last night.
Right on.
I asked my wife, is this a mafia style right here? She's like, yeah. I said, all right. He don't think I'm going to do it up. I'm going to send it to him.
That's perfect.
I appreciate it.
Chill it in the fridge. Don't add ice to it.
I can't wait. Thank you very much.
Take care, man.
All right, man. Thank you. That was cool. Thank you.
No, for sure, man. My pleasure.